smart. I am Tanishka. Today we're going to read Hello Crow. Let's start reading. Franny was a dreamer. That's what her dad said. A dreamer didn't think about what she was doing and left things in a mess. If only you would learn to pay attention, he said. What am I going to do with you, my Franny Featherhead? But Franny was paying attention. She was watching the shadows of the tree outside the window dance around the room. She was listening to the cries of the birds in the branches, calling her to come outside into the big, wide world. Here you go, her dad said with a sigh and kissed the top of her head. A little something for your adventure. Franny skipped down the steps and into the bright morning air. Every bug, every leaf, every petal was shimmering with wonder. After a while, she sat on her favorite rock and started to eat her lunch. Crumbs went flying in every direction, but she didn't notice them. She was too busy watching the bird, the big black bird that was coming toward her. The bird kept waddling closer. Hop, hop, stop, hop, hop. Whenever he stopped, he tilted his head and looked at Franny. He looked at the crumbs around her feet. Closer he hopped and closer. Franny sat completely still. She hardly dared to breathe. He was so close, she could have reached over and touched his wings. But she didn't. Hello, Crow, she whispered, because she knew that's who he was. I am very pleased to make your acquaintances. Then the crow had poked and prodded in the grass and eaten every last crumb. He fixed one round eye on Franny and gave her a little nod. Then, with a rush of rustling feathers, he leaped into the sky and was gone. He's beautiful and shiny, she told her dad that evening, and he's my friend, and he likes sandwiches, same as me. And you should come meet him. And her dad looked up from what he was doing. Where do you get all your feather-brained ideas? He said and ruffled her hair. You know as well as I do that you can't have a crow for a friend. Now, go take off those muddy shoes and get ready for dinner. The next morning, Franny had a problem. She was going to need 2 sandwiches, one for herself and one for the crow. But she knew without even asking that her father would say no. I'll make my own lunch this morning, she called to him. And don't worry, I won't make a mess. Franny was dressed and ready to go by the time her dad got up. Franny thought of a dozen different ways to pass the time while she waited, but there was no sign of her friend. After a while, she sat on her rock and ate her lunch alone. And then suddenly, there he was, rushing towards her, not hopping this time, but flying, swooping low across the lawn. He landed with a thump and a flourish right beside her. Caw, caw, shouted the crow with a little bow. Caw, caw, shouted Franny. I am happy to see you, too. From then on, every day was full of surprises. When Franny told her dad about everything that had happened, he laughed and gave her a little hug. Then, I suppose you flapped your wings and flew away with him? No, Dad, listen to me, she protests, but he didn't seem to hear. How would she ever get him to believe her? And then the crow did something so wonderful that even Franny could hardly believe it. It was true. He brought her a gift. He left it on top of her favorite rock, where she was sure to find it. Next came a red bead. A few days later, a green pebble. Then a tiny silver heart. One by one, Franny gathered up all the presents and carried them home with her. It's simple, she told her father. Crow loves me and I love him too. And that's why he brings me presents. But her dad just shook his head. I don't know where you found all this trash, he was weary, but this silliness has to stop. Franny drew herself up to her full height and folded her arms across her chest. These are my treasures, not trash, she said firmly. You need to come with me. I'm going to prove to you that my new friend is real. So Franny took her dad by the hand and half-legged and her favorite rock. Come on, Crow, she thought to herself. This is important. They waited and waited and waited. That's it, her dad said at last. Come on, time to go. I know you want to believe. But before he could say another word, a glossy black bird came swooping down out of nowhere and landed on Franny's head. Hello, Crow, said Franny. My word, her father said. From that moment on, Franny's dad did his best to pay attention to what she said. And Franny, I am sorry that I called you a featherhead. Oh, don't be sorry, she assured him. I like being a featherhead, just like my new friend. Caw, 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 shouted the crow. See, he agrees, said Franny, and she and her dad both laughed. The